We've had economic damage that's historic and generational. The economy shrinking by 7% in one quarter. The country, of course, is officially in recession. Some people are talking about depression. About 1 million people have lost their jobs, maybe a lot more. Who can really tell till JobKeeper ends? Budgets have blown for decades to come. What a miserable situation.
Our record run of 28 consecutive years of economic growth has now officially come to an end. The cause? A once-in-a-century pandemic. The effect? A COVID-19 induced recession. Real GDP fell in the June quarter by 7%, the largest quarterly fall on record.
Yep, your children will suffer from this setback and their children as well. Now, there's a false dichotomy put about by some on this, that we've done all of this economic damage to ourselves, that if we hadn't done so much to fight the pandemic, we'd have escaped the economic pain. That's obviously not true. The pandemic was going to smash us economically no matter what we did. People would have been sick, people would have stopped travelling, stopped working and stopped spending. So some substantial economic pain here was unavoidable. But there's no doubt in this country we've made the economic pain worse by shutting down too hard for too long. And there's no doubt that that damage is being exacerbated now because Victoria is a mess, an authoritarian nanny state lockdown zombie zone. Having stuffed up everything from quarantine to contact tracing and public communications, Daniel Andrews is overreacting massively, imprisoning his population in their own homes, killing businesses and creating deep social harm for a problem that is almost overwhelmingly contained in aged care homes. What a disaster. Here's how Barnaby Joyce explained it on Paul Murray Live last night.
What those security guards were doing to the guests of the hotels is what Dan is doing to the economy of Australia right now.
Correct.
Okay? So let's get that straight, OK? And he's doing it without even asking permission and without protection.
Yeah, the former Deputy Prime Minister tells us what he really thinks there, hey? And his former boss has cut through on the pandemic too. Former Prime Minister and former Health Minister Tony Abbott has delivered a speech in London critiquing the pandemic response and giving the sort of advice we need to hear about a pathway forward. He's called out the self-interest and hypocrisy of the states.
As with the Spanish flu, state border closures, only worse, it's been every jurisdiction for itself in a form of pandemic protectionism. One Australian state with virtually no corona cases won't admit people from another state with virtually no corona cases. States that want to admit foreign students because they need the money don't want to admit Australians from another state.
London hearing about our mess, and Tony Abbott also has rightly turned his sights on the media, where the hysteria has been shocking from the start, trying to scare people, exaggerating the threat and shaming anybody who wants to resist the heavy hand of government.
Inevitably, much of the media has spread virus hysteria, with the occasional virus-linked death of a younger person highlighted to show that deadly threat isn't confined to the very old or the already very sick or those exposed to massive viral loads.
Now, predictably, the media in Australia today and others have slammed Tony Abbott, accusing him of not caring about the lives of the elderly and the vulnerable. What rot. Rather, he echoed what we've examined on this program for months. As you know, we've spoken to some of the world's best experts. We've looked at all the data. We've kept you informed about the disease, the treatments, the statistics and the prospects for a vaccine. And because of all that, I've said for months that it's clear we have to find a way to live with the disease.
In the absence of effective treatment or a vaccine that may never come, at some point we just have to learn to live with this virus in ways that can be kept up more or less indefinitely, with borders managed but open, business vigilant but otherwise fully operational, and normal life continuing with more precautions, more humane ones, for the sick and the elderly.
Yeah, we've wasted too much time, we've spent too much borrowed money, we've destroyed too many jobs, we've kept too many families apart, we've ruined too many educations, we've robbed too many people of their normal social interactions, and we've foisted too much pain and debt onto future generations. And we did it all while still leaving our aged care centres badly exposed. It's time to get back to our lives as best we can.
Now that each one of us has had 6 months to consider this pandemic and to make our own judgments about it, surely it's time to relax the rules so that individuals can take more personal responsibility and make more of their own decisions about the risks they're prepared to run.
Personal responsibility, precautions for the vulnerable, managing risks, not pretending they can be eliminated. Tony Abbott has laid down the blueprint. Scott Morrison would be wise to adopt it.